most people spend most of their time doing shit that doesn't matter. The definition of leverage is you get more output per unit of input. If I do a little bit and I get a lot, I have a lot of leverage. You simply have some things that you get more money per period of time and less money per period of time. That's it. There's work to be done. And the question is, how quickly can I begin that work? That's it.
Hey guys, Micheal Pacitto here. And Alex Hormozi, if you've been following him for any length of time, you know that he talks a lot about productivity and how most of what we do with productivity is a giant waste of time. And I wanted to talk about that in the light of managing your high-level agency, managing your SaaS company, or whether you're doing services, if you're doing anything with high level, understanding what actually creates value in a high-level business. And I think Hormozi here is going to tell us some big things. I'd love to react to it here.
What's the millionaire morning routine? A lot of people ask these questions. If you look on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, so-and-so's morning routine, the 5 things so-and-so does the moment he wakes up. They think that there's some magic pill or some super 5-step thing that's gonna somehow get them to do the work.
This is the number one thing in the high-level space that bothers me so much is people looking to these gurus or people that have some very particular system in order to get work done. The problem is they only focus on doing things if everything is this. You have to do it this way and it only works with this types of product. And that's not really understanding what's making you productive. That's just following an MLM, right? Just do it this way, turn your blinders on and you'll be fine. What we actually need to do at a high level is understand what actually creates productivity. So don't follow other people. Realize that their way of doing things has a lot of assumptions.
Give you my morning routine. Everything that I do between when I wake up and when I work. We have to define what productivity even means. Productivity is getting more done per unit of time. People who move faster in life don't actually move faster. They get more done per unit of time. I had this guy reach out to me and he's like, dude, I got this coach. He's got me doing like morning walks, red light sauna, and I do a cold plunge and I do my gratitude journal. He's like, by the time I'm done my morning routine, it's like 11 a.m. And I was like, do you think you'd be more productive if you just prospected for 3 hours a day? He was like, yeah, probably. And I was like, doesn't sound very productive then. What's interesting is that people...
I love this too for a big reason. I get a lot of pushback for the systems that I put in. Mike, I don't want to document things. I just want to build. Why am I wasting? Alex Hormozi says you should just do stuff. It's cool, do stuff. But once you get those 5 or 10 clients, if you start running out of time, you're no longer doing stuff. So the advice that we should just do things. What we're not thinking about is just the moment. We're thinking, can we still do things a week later? Can we still do things 6 months from now? Can we still do things a year from now? Or are we going to be so bogged down because we didn't write things down? We weren't able to be flexible, or the market's changed and we're still stuck selling marketing agency services like it's 2020. If it's productive, it should be productive, just not now, but it should also be productive later.
Approach the problem of the fact that they're not getting enough done per unit of time, and they think that I should add more things that are not getting things done to become more productive per unit of time. That doesn't make sense, right? Why do people not think that way? Because people don't define the terms that they use. But if you define productivity as the amount of work you do per unit of time, you probably would stop doing a lot of the things that you're doing that aren't working.
If we define productivity as how Alex just did, I will guarantee you that making a map of what you're going to build, documenting down anytime you make a change, you write down what you just built, and having a good process for documenting will be the highest amount of productivity that any marketing agency using GHL today. It beats onboarding, it beats hiring people, it beats even sales. Because if you don't do those really basic things, your entire agency comes to a halt and you have nothing left to sell. You have no clients to onboard. You have no team members. You don't have money to pay for those team members. It all stops if you don't do that because it is that important.
How much leverage am I getting from that work? So I can multiply even further the work that I do. You order your tasks in order of the leverage that they have. The definition of leverage is you get more output per unit of input. If I do a little bit and I get a lot, I have a lot of leverage. You simply have some...
I would also add, is this adding more long-term liabilities that are going to bite me in the ass later? Or is this going to allow me to, or is this keeping me free from the burdens of technical debt? Just a little addition.
That's it. What are the tasks that get us the most output? For example, I could make sales calls. That is going to be a one-to-one input of like, I do this effort and I get sales out of it. With that same level of effort, if I could go recruit a salesperson, which would take me a finite period of time, and then that person replaces that, my ongoing support for that person is going to be 2-3 hours a week. So I gain back 20 hours a week of prospecting in exchange for 2 to 3 hours a week plus money. And so the act of entrepreneurship is simply consistently making these trades of what can I buy my time back with, even to the point where you had an entire company leading to one person and that person talks to you. If we were to
100%, let's look at a sale. You can get another $100, $300, $500 a month client. Cool. But that client is also coming with liabilities. I want to go and update my snapshot. When I want to update my offer, I now have to go back to everyone that I sold and I have to go and fix all the problems that I put off doing, right? Now, obviously, I'm assuming that the product sucks, but let me tell you, if you're not writing things down, if you're not planning things, your product probably does suck. Documenting things might take you an extra 1 minute, 2 minutes to do before you go on. But that 1 or 2 minutes is going to save you a 100-hour problem when you catch a problem that has now been pushed out, that could have been pushed out to 100 of your accounts and requires 100 hours of fixing, right? 1 minute of time saves you 100 hours of effort.
try and think of like the perfect morning routine, we should think about the reverse of that, which is what's the worst morning routine? How could I create a morning routine that would make me the least effective? One, I'd make it long as humanly possible. Number two, I'd have lots of steps and processes involved so that I could use up lots of mental energy before I could even start working. Number three is that I would become very, very reliant on that thing. If I don't get this one thing in, then it means I cannot work. You have to make your bed in order to become a millionaire.
Let's talk about those three things because I absolutely love them, but it's very easy to apply them incorrectly.
Routine that would make me the least
number
effective. One, I'd make it long as humanly possible.
Now, this is in context of our morning routine. We need to translate this to running a marketing agency. To me, one of the worst things is I'm going to make it so that only one person actually understands how everything in the agency works. That's super not scalable because now every single team member you hire has to go to you for everything. Hey, this client had something built for them custom a year ago, 6 months ago. What did you do here? I don't know. So number one is I wouldn't write anything down, and that would force everything to have to be kept in the brain of one person. That's like the absolute worst way to run a scalable business.
Number two, I'd have lots of steps and processes involved so that I could.
Naming conventions. What do we name the workflows and tags and all that? If there has to be a process for agreeing on the naming conventions, is there a process of making sure that people named things correctly for this particular situation? That's not scalable because that's requiring some human to make a decision for this situation, how we should name our workflows, which system, how should we position it? Well, we're talking about how many unnecessary parts of the process we have. When I do a naming convention for a workflow, I don't think about it. I have an automated system for creating my naming conventions that I know will work no matter what situation I'm in, whether I'm building for one or scaling to thousands. I know it'll always work. I don't think about it. I don't need to teach people naming conventions, guys. All I need to tell people is use my documentation tool, copy the name that it spits out and paste it in there. Don't think about it any more than that. So if you want an agency that doesn't scale, make it so that someone has to decide on every little tiny thing for every single situation.
Use up lots of mental energy before I could even start working. Number three is that I would become very, very reliant on that thing. If I don't get this one thing in, then it means I cannot work.
Your process should make you free to execute. Your process shouldn't pigeonhole you into one way of doing things. If you want to bet the house on that the marketing world's not going to change in the next 6 months, that's cool. I'm going to tell you, Sean's going to come at you from Highlevel this week with some new products and new features and new value that could be created and capitalized on. And again, if you're going to be cool with that, saying, hey, next couple of years, we're just going to sell this one thing, that's cool, guys. Do that. If the only reason is you're not launching new products is because your process doesn't allow you to, because you have to do everything this way, that sucks. The processes I like to teach and talk about are processes that let you do the thing that you know is valuable for your clients and allows you to iterate and adapt as you go without having to throw everything out out the window.
You have to make your bed in order to become a millionaire. The problem with that is that we're separating fact from psychology. If
the only way to scale is to only sell one thing, that's bullshit. You could have 100 different features. You could launch a new feature every single week if your process was good, and you could charge a bunch more for it, and you could give a ton of more value for it, and you can have it without problems. Because guys, I've seen it. I've done it, right? The idea that you can only scale things if you only sell one feature and focus only on that, it's not actually scalable. It's just dumbing things down, right? And again, when you're starting out, that's probably the best thing to do. But once you get past those 10 clients and you want to start adding more value, charging more for what you do, there's a point where you can't just charge more money, more value. You actually have to provide more value.
If I make making my bed mean that I'm going to do the things that I said I'm going to do, then it's super productive. But it's not the making the bed that's the thing that's important. It's the fact that I'm committed to doing the things that I said I'm going to do. Gurus will get on this superstition around these things that they do, but not describe the meaning that they've ascribed to the thing. Oh, I do this thing to establish discipline. Then it's not the thing, it's the discipline, in which case you could replace the thing with any other thing, or you could just tell yourself you're disciplined and you don't need to prove it to yourself. The easiest way to disprove something.
Scaling, baby. Here's how you scale things. Dumb down your product, only sell one thing, even though give less to your clients, guys. Charge more, do less for them. If there's a problem with adding more products and more features to your offering, the solution isn't just don't sell products. That's like saying, it's like, hey, our salespeople they're having a problem overcoming objections. They're having problems like making sales. It's like, okay, well, let's just not sell things. Problem solved, right?
Something is to say, let me find an instance where this doesn't exist and I still have the outcome. That's how you disprove something in like science. If there's a millionaire morning routine, then it would have to be the same thing that all millionaires do. You have to wake up early. I can tell you right now, plenty of millionaires who don't wake up early. You have to have 7 streams of income. All I have to do is find one person who doesn't have 7 streams of income to show you that that's not true. Do you have to do real estate in order to become a millionaire? No. You have to be in software. You have to be in Web3. By the way, buddy, doing 70 million a year with janitorial services for big buildings. Boring as shit. The anti-routine concept came from the fact that I get asked by so many fucking people what my routine was because they thought there was some magic pill of how I got stuff done besides getting stuff done that somehow is gonna make them confront the fact that they're not working because they don't wanna work. You don't need a...
Literally, I talk all day long about documenting as you go. It's the foundation of everything I do, and 99% of the agencies that I have seen are not documenting, and because of that, they all have a very same set of problems that they're looking for all of these solutions and fancy solutions for. Guys, I have a free course and it takes 50 minutes to do. It'll test you and your team, put your whole team through it. It'll tell you how to plan things, how to document things, how to update things. It's the basic skills. If you do that, you're going to get 80 to 90% of the value of all the things that I teach about. Guys, the core is you just need to write things down. You need to have some discipline. And if you just do that, Highlevel opens up to you.
Create some magical morning routine where you sing a flute, magical dance outside and sing in the rain and the journals and all the other shit. Like, there's work to be done. And the question is, how quickly can I begin that work? That's it. The perfect routine would be you wake up and you immediately work because you've trained yourself to be able to do it.
The parallel, the perfect way to run an agency is where an opportunity to sell to a bunch of people comes up and you create a product that you can sell to them and you can just start working on it. And in a couple weeks to a month, you're able to sell it to them. Full onboarded process. Bam. You've just added more revenue streams, but you haven't added more complexity. If you can't just create new product in a relatively short amount of time with Highlevel, you can't ship new features, then there's a problem here. And if you have to go and find some other process and buy into some other system so that you can tackle this feature set, then you're leaving yourself vulnerable. Your process should work no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing it for one person or 1,000 people.
Are one of these people who has a 90-minute morning routine before you start working, try waking up
the words out of my
walking
mouth.
straight over to begin work. Don't even check your phone. Most people spend most of their time doing shit that doesn't matter. And for the people who are going to say, isn't the morning routine kind of like a warm up before a workout? Don't you need to prepare yourself before you start working? How long do you really need to warm up your brain? Do you think that your ability to warm up your brain is trainable? Because if it's trainable, then your routine 10 things you do, remove 1, see how you do. Remove 2, see how you did. routine should shrink and your stuff before you start working. How long do you really need to warm up your brain? Do you think that your ability to warm up your brain is trainable? Because if it's trainable, then your routine should shrink and your number of hours of work should increase.
And that's where I came up with document as you go, because I realized that you don't need to write a 1,000-page manual on your snapshot. You just need to make sure that you write down as you go 1 or 2 sentences about the things that are in your snapshot or in your client's build. And if you do just that, I've shrinked it down to as small as possible. This is the minimum. If you do less than the minimum, you're creating unnecessary work. You're doing low leverage activities. If you do more than what I talk about, then you're probably wasting time that could have been better spent building more things, selling more stuff. So yeah, 100%, everything you do should be necessary.
People are like, I get more done if I have a morning routine. Cool. See if you can just compress the morning routine to take less time. Of the 10 things you do, remove 1, see how you do. Remove 2, see how you do. The fundamental equation of productivity, how much you do multiplied by how much leverage you have on the stuff you do. If we're defining those things as the equation for productivity, then the perfect morning routine should be one that maximizes the volume of work you do and the leverage that you create from the volume. And so for me, that looks like waking up, having a cup of coffee, and getting to work.
And for me in a marketing agency, here's the 3 things for it. Make a map of what you're going to do, write down the things that you build, and release product and so that you can get feedback, ship new features to real people and get feedback on them so that you know what creates value in your agency. If you can't do those 3, plan, build, and manage those things, you're not doing anything else in the agency. You're leaving yourself open. So guys, hopefully you got some value out of that. I really think when we're thinking about our agencies, we need to be very focused on what creates value, not what doesn't create value. I've taken also from this of you should only do things that have been compressed down, right? You shouldn't be doing things and hoping that they work. You need to know exactly why you're doing them and what problems they solve. If you don't know what problems they solve, you're probably not going to do it. That's why a lot of people skip steps. They say, oh, Mike, I like your mapping and I like your updating a snapshot process. I don't like this documentation as you go thing. That seems silly. And then 3-4 months later, they go, oh, shoot, maybe I should have been documenting as I go. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming on that. I got a ton out of this going through Hormozi stuff. And it's really important to make sure that the things we do are high leverage. Everything that I talk about needs to be high leverage, needs to be a way to use that to adapt to the realities of running a marketing agency outside of just dumbing things down and following some guru system that only works this way and you need to go to them. You should be able to have a team that is able to adapt to launch new features, get feedback so that you know what's actually making money for your clients and so you could stay ahead of your competition. Let me know if you guys like this content. I will do more breakdowns and show how they apply to the high level. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and see you later.